What's up, YouTube? It's Night Lies, or Jordan, whatever you want to call me. I got a new video here. It's just a quick Elden Ring review. I haven't done a review on a game in a bit. I think the last one I did was Metroid, maybe Metroid. I don't know. I usually do them for any new games that come out. You know, it's what reviews really are. But I've been trying to do them for like every game I play, whether it's new or like 10 years old. But it hasn't really worked out clearly. But, okay, cool. Quick Elden Ring review. Don't want to make it like 15, 20 minutes because I could probably talk about this game for that much time, if not even more. But, we'll start it off here that, Elden Ring is some good shit. Like, it is so good. If you've not played any From Software games before, you should know that, it's also challenging. There's, you know, bosses that take multiple attempts, if not hours, to beat. Especially Malenia, cough cough, took me like almost 2 hours, but I used the Mimic at the end. It's okay. But yeah, so I guess the first thing I want to get into in Elden Ring is just that it is like the best From Software game, I think, by far, like easily, lore-wise, design-wise. Maybe boss design-wise, I would still probably put Bloodborne over it. That's just personal preference. Like, overall, I think most people would probably consider Elden Ring is a better game overall. Like, it is a better game overall than Bloodborne, but just from personal preference and setting and whatnot, Bloodborne I still prefer over this for some things. But if we're going into lore and whatnot, keep in mind I've not played Dark Souls. I've only played Sekiro, Bloodborne, Demon Souls, and this now. But I think the combat's great. It's the best from the Souls games that I have played that's ever been. The leveling and balancing, I think, is pretty good. I know people are complaining that the end game is really, like, hard, but that's because it's an open world. If it was too easy in the second half of the map, it'd be too easy. It's supposed to be a Souls game. It's supposed to be challenging. So if, you know, you don't explore around the map like the open world like you're supposed to, then it's going to be even harder than what it really is. But I guess another thing is that the map is fucking huge. It is massive. Oh my lord. Like as I was playing, I was like, okay, we're in Limgrave. And then you go to Kylid, you're like, okay, it's a nice size. And you're like, oh, obviously we're going to do an area. You know, probably like one underground area and something like that. And then it goes to the next area where you go to like Raya Lucaria. You're like, okay, cool. It's a large map. It's a pretty decently sized map. This is pretty cool. And then you go to the capital and you're like, okay, shit, this is huge. And then after that, you go to an underground area that leads to another underground area. And then there's a third underground area, and there's 5 more. And then after that, there's 2 more areas that you can miss, and is not even a part of the game's main story that you can go to, that are both fucking huge. They both have optional bosses, and they both have remembrance bosses. It's like, what the hell, dude? Like, how the hell? How? No wonder it took them so long. Like, this game is absolutely insane size-wise. There's so much to do. Like, every area you're in, there's something always happening, whether it's an enemy or just, like, a fucking dragon coming on your head. Pause. Like, dude, it's crazy. As you can see on screen real quick here, I have 70-ish hours in. I have the platinum, keep in mind, on the game. It took me 70 hours. So my playthrough is about 55, 60 hours. I did the Ronnie ending first, and then I did the save thing on PlayStation, I'm sorry, to get one more. But then I did play again on New Game Plus to speedrun and get the Frenzied Flame ending. I think there's 2 or 3 more, but they're not really that big of a difference. I haven't seen them, but I think all the endings are pretty dope. The Frenzied Flame ending, even though it's like the bad ending, quote unquote, it's the coolest shit ever. No spoilers, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's so fucking sick. It's so cool. Also level 170, as you can see, pretty damn high. Like, you get like, I won't say anything pertaining to the final boss or anything, but you get a shit ton New Game Plus final boss. It is insane. Character creation's cool in this game. It's the best I think it's ever been since I've only played, you know, Bloodborne, Sekiro, Demon Souls. It's pretty damn in-depth. It looks great. The characters look great. The character models can look freaking sick. As you see, I made Giga Chad in mine. He looks pretty phenomenal. I did a tweet that blew up. It had like 11k likes or something, but no one gives a shit. Yeah, I don't even know what else to say about the game. Like, it's great. It's so good. If people want to play it and it's their first From Software game, I would highly recommend. Because it is open world, I think it's more accessible than ever. and the linearity, is that a word? Whatever you want to call it, of other From Software games kind of limit it. So, like, when you're playing, like, not Dark Souls, I haven't played Dark Souls, but when you're playing, like, Bloodborne or Demon Souls, it's like, okay, go to this boss. You can go to, like, maybe 1 or 2 optional side bosses, but other than that, you have to just keep going. And if you get stuck, it's like, okay, let me grind back here in this area, just these normal enemies, or maybe the one optional boss that will then let me go to the next area and fight the boss now that I'm stronger, but it will still be, like, hard as shit. But to Elden Ring, if you're new at the game or new to the series, you can just walk around the rest of the world or kill a shit ton of optional bosses around the rest of the world. There's so many optional bosses. Oh my god. Granted, there's more than a couple, but there's a nice chunk of reused. But what are you going to do when the world is this big? Like, you can't complain about it because the bosses that aren't optional, the main bosses, are sick. All the remembrance bosses, I think there's about 5 that are optional, are amazing. Like, my top, like, 3 or 4 favorite bosses in the game are all non-main story. Like, Mog, I'm only going to list names, Mog, Placidusax, and then there's, like, the Elden Beast is pretty cool, but Placidusax, Mog, and there's another one, Malenia, who can't forget about Malenia. Like, they're my favorite bosses in the game. I think Malenia is probably a top 3 favorite From Software boss. It just is so good. The fight's challenging, she looks sick, Phase 2 is sick, the whole area is cool as hell. The weapons you get, like the remembrance weapons from enemies that you get that you can use are fucking so cool. Oh my god, like the magic, it's great, it's great. Another thing about the game that I love, before I go to like some complaints, is that the, like, scaling, or not scaling, but like picking what you want to do, I think is like done really well. Like, there's so many different ways you can play the game, and like weapons and whatnot, that you can have like a million playthroughs and it will not be the same every time. Like, I did strength and dexterity, or like in health and endurance, so I was just like big dude, big sword, like monkey brain, just hit things. I used the Bloodhound's Fang. The thing was broken when you max out with the special ability, but I did like a strength build. I know some friends who did only magic. I know some friends that did both. I know some people who did just a bunch of shit. Like, you can do, it's Souls type games, you know, you can always change around and mess with the stats, but this one's even crazier just because there's incantations, spells, there's a third set, there's your basic attacks, then there's the runes, which increase stats and whatnot, and then there's the remembrance, the main boss weapons that you can do. There's just so much you can do with the game. It's like, it's wild. Some complaints, I guess, like, we're set 8 minutes here. I'm gonna try to, end it off here in a bit, but some complaints, I guess, would be just, actually, I don't know. I didn't really think this through before I started the video, but I don't really have any complaints, honestly. Like, the boss design is great. The world is effing massive. It's fun. Like, this was like 70 hours of not like filler or like nothing. Out of all these 70 hours, none of this was me just walking around like, what do I do? Like, this is boring. That was 70 hours filled of, holy shit, there's this area, there's this area, there's this area that I could go to, and it was great. Like, it was 70 hours of packed content. And I know some people look at like a long game and be like, oh, I don't want to play because it's long, or it's gonna take me forever, or you're like dreading it. I didn't feel that way once in Elden Ring. Like, I was just walking around doing stuff, and if I beat it in 30, I beat it in 30. I didn't, but if I only went for the main boss stuff, I could have beat it in a shorter time. But there's just so much. This is probably the most packed, largest, most content dense game I've played, like, probably ever, honestly. Like, I've played a nice chunk of open world games. Breath of the Wild is probably one of my favorite games of all time, if not my favorite. And I'm not gonna, just because it's my favorite game, I'm not gonna say it's not like bad or whatever. But Breath of the Wild it has empty parts, and there's times where, like, I don't know what to do in this area. There's nothing really here. Elden Ring is not like that at all. There's always something you can do or something happening, and there's just, I was getting sidetracked from doing something, then I got sidetracked from getting sidetracked from getting sidetracked. It's like, what the shit? It's like, what the hell? Like, the NPCs are cool. The round table hub is pretty cool. I still like the Bloodborne one more, and the one from Demon Souls is pretty dope. But the round table's cool. You can buy, equipment and materials and whatnot, and then just, like, I think my favorite NPC probably would be the blacksmith at the round table. He was cool, that little storyline. Like, Millicent, that was sick. There's just so many NPCs. The lore is probably easier and more spoon-fed than other ones I've played. It's still not even spoon-fed. Like, it's still Souls-like vague storytelling, but you can do it from reading the weapon lore. But I think it's more than usual, which is good, because the game did blow up, so more people can follow it easier. But I do like it like this, where it's not totally like vague, like what did I just play, but it's still giving you enough where you're like, oh, this is fun if you're not super deep into reading the weapon lore. But 10 minutes, I'm gonna end it here in a bit. It's just so good. I have the collector's edition. Keep in mind, I didn't get it till 2 weeks after the game came out, and I already beat the game and had the platinum by then. So it was just basically me opening it and looking at the beautiful statue. But got the collector's edition, got the platinum. I can't wait for the DLC for this game. Every FromSoft Soulsborne game has had DLC. It's not like will this game get DLC? It's yes, this game will get DLC. It's a matter of when it will get DLC. Probably, I would say November we'll have news on it. If it's not out by the end of the year, I imagine. Like, they probably already started working on it before the release of the game. Had the small team doing it. Like, there's so much lore they could expand upon. I can't wait, man. The game's phenomenal. If anybody's on the fence, I highly recommend. $60? People talk about, like, is it worth the price for a bunch of games? Dude, I feel like I should have paid $120. Like, I feel like I underpaid for this shit. It's insane. And I'm on the low end of playtime here. Like, I know some people who are in the hundreds, like 120, 110 hours to play it, not even get the platinum, just play it and beat it for the first time. Like, it is wild. I know someone who is 70 hours in and just got to Radon. It's like, what the fuck? Like, oh my god. There's so much content. I highly recommend it. It's a phenomenal game. Probably one of the best games ever. Like this game is gonna be looked back upon. Like, we gotta, like, for open worlds, games need to do shit like this. Granted, it's such a huge scale. I don't think games will be able to follow in its footsteps, and I don't think they should, just because of the scale and just how From Software makes their games. I don't think it's just, I don't want every company just copying, making their own Elden Ring, which probably will happen now, just kind of how Breath of the Wild came out, a bunch of open world games came out. But this is kind of like the not new Breath of the Wild, but you had Breath of the Wild, and then now you have Elden Ring taking its spot of, like, the game. Like, this shit is just wild. It's gonna win Game of the Year. It's gonna win Game of the Year next year. Maximilian was, I was watching him play. He said it's gonna win Game of the Year for the next 5 years. Probably true. But other than that, thank you guys for watching the review. I was trying to make it short, but I keep rambling about this game. It was just kind of me just gushing about it. No really complaints at all. Maybe the only complaint is that you can't play with friends if you're on New Game Plus and they're on the first run, but that has been in previous games, so it's not really a complaint. It's just I wish they made it easier for the person you join, which makes sense. It's not in there. It's, makes it easier for the person, so totally fine. But other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed. Get Elden Ring. I recommend it. It's phenomenal. Can't wait to see the DLC, and this will probably be a series of games because it sold a shit ton. 12 million in like 2 weeks. 12 million? 12 million? Like, what the fuck? 12 million? Jesus, man. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. I'll have a Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy Origins review in the next couple days here. I'll have my ending reaction to that. My ending reaction to this is up. My reaction to some bosses is up, and I have a tutorial for some things on this. So thank you guys for watching the Elden Ring content. I will try to get a stream for Elden Ring here in a bit. I want to do a New Game plus run and see how high I can drive my level and how high I can just take the game and see how challenging it gets. So we're at 170 now. Maybe I'll push it to like 210 if not more. But that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I love y'all, and see y'all in the next one. Adios.